Rolling.
We'll now bring in the members of our jury. Lachey, Juan, Aliana, Isaiah, Jess, Brandon, Geraldine,
So many.
Nina, and Chad. Rob, Alison, congratulations and welcome to the final Tribal Council. You've gone as far as you can in this game. You've outwit, outplayed, and outlasted 16 people to get to this point. Now, your fate is in the hands of the jury. How it's going to work is first, each of you will get to make your opening remarks. After that, each juror will get up one at a time. They will either ask you a question, they may make a statement, one of the two. After each juror has asked their questions and or made their statements, the two of you will get to make a closing argument. This is the one time in this game you want to see your name on that parchment because the jury is going to be determining a winner. Alright, with that being said, Alison, since you won the last individual immunity challenge, you got to determine the order. You chose to go first. Whenever you're ready.
Hello, jury. I first want to start by saying that I wanted this final two to represent our amazing season. The equality back and forth of purple and orange, it feels fitting to have a purple and an orange. My game started the moment I got cast. When I tell you that I manifested this particular game for me, I manifested me sitting here, and I manifested a win, I'm not exaggerating. I don't know why I believe in myself so much or why I felt this in my bones, but I did. While I was here, every single day I felt like I saw signs. I constantly had little butterflies on me, a ladybug. I found 2 4-leaf clovers. I found a dime. I had feathers. I felt that everything I was doing was for my end game. Let me start with my time on orange. So, no. Let me tell you about my goals first. I had a few goals coming into this game. My first goal was to find a number 1. I have unfortunately yet to play in a game where I had a true number 1, a true person, and somebody who I felt like I could be completely candid with throughout the game. Luckily for me, in this game, I landed 5 number 1s, and I did not approach a single one of them. They all came to me, and I genuinely was ready and willing to work with all 5 of them. In the order they approached me were Jess, Chad, Allie, Rob, and Nina. So starting on the Orange Tribe with 3 number 1s made me feel incredible. Luckily for me, we wanted to make a 3 with myself, Jess, and Allie, and a core 4 adding in Chad. That felt great, and I knew that would stick throughout the game. As for other people on Orange, I also felt like I made great connections. I was able to kind of put myself and Chad in a middle position if needed, where I would stick with the girls, but also I built relationships with Colby and Andrew and Jay West and Juan, and I felt like if needed, Chad and I could float between the two. We didn't need to, which thankfully I was able to stick with the core 4 that I wanted to start the game with. On Orange, I didn't mean to cause some tribal chaos, but indirectly I kind of did. The first one being, I had a soft spot for Colby, and I couldn't lie to him. I told him that the majority of the votes were going for him, and that caused him to spiral a little bit. And that brought us to tribal here. where we had a nice, spicy live tribal. Again, during that moment, I sat back. I realized that I probably started that, but I didn't need to keep a part of it, so I just watched it unfold. The second one being Juan's vote. While walking down this path here, well, in camp, Andrew told me that Deb had given Juan her bead, and then while walking here, he told me that he gave him his other bead. So I knew that Juan had an idol, and our vote that round was Juan. So very quickly, right at the gong over there, I turned to both of them. I said, Juan, I know your plan. I know you have an idol. I will stick with you. That caused quick paranoia in him. I don't know whether he was going to play that idol on himself or not. But once again, that tribal got very spicy, and I faded in the background. Unfortunately, Andrew sacrificed his game to let Chad continue, and I do feel like Andrew would have been a loyal player for me, but keeping Chad was also a great move. So within my time on Orange, I started to build these connections. I started to build a little storylining and stayed out of people's minds. I was never an option for anybody on Orange to want to vote for. Merge time comes, and I go in with 5 purple, 5 orange, 6 purple, so yes, we were in theory down a number. However, Nina and I immediately built a connection, and this was the start of a new melding of working relationships within the merge. Don't know if she mentioned it to you or not, but Lachey's vote, that first merge vote, was due to myself and Nina. So Nina told me where the majority of the votes were going. She told me that the votes were on Jess. And obviously, I couldn't let that be the case. She also told me that collectively, your purple people didn't think that we would play an idol on Lachey or Isaiah. So our plan, Orange, was to vote for Isaiah. So Lachey, when I told you that I knew you weren't the vote, at that time you were not. It was switched literally at the start of the walk here by Chad. So I couldn't just tell my Orange people that I knew the votes were going on Jess, so I knew I needed to phrase it in a way that seemed believable, and it was. Chad had immunity. I knew that myself and Allie were the votes out there, but I confirmed that I was a decoy, and I asked, like, what about Allie? And people said, So that left Jess. As Dwight Schrute says, it's always the middle person that you suspect. So everybody really did believe that was the case, and I knew it was the case, so luckily I didn't have to do any more convincing. So we got to Tribal, Jess played her idol, and unfortunately, Lachey, you were the brunt of that. Let's see, what's next? Then I knew that Allie was the next vote. I also didn't want that to be the case. So us girls band together, and unfortunately, Juan, you were the result of that. Because I couldn't let another female go. And moving on from there, I lost Allie, one of my number ones, but I knew I still had people, and I knew that if my number ones got eaten out, I would have options. Within the merge tribe, I formed a 4 with myself, Chad, Rob, and Nina. We made it to the end. We also had an option at one point for me, Rob, and Nina. So me, Rob, and Nina were working very closely together without maybe too much knowledge. When Rob came to me and told me that he would take me to the end no matter what, that was the most I believed in anybody in this game. The way you spoke to me and the way you looked at me, I knew it. I knew it and I felt it. So it was right after Jess got voted out that I realized if given the chance, I needed to sit here next to Rob. I knew that he was 100% going to take me. Also, I knew that he was someone who I wanted to battle this out with. yesterday was so hard. We got rid of 5 people. That's a little much, in my opinion. But starting with Brandon's vote out, even third time's a charm. I'm sorry, Brandon. Even before your vote out, I had a brief conversation that you pitched a 3 between Geraldine, yourself, and me. An option. I'll take it. I do regret not telling Geraldine about this vote because there really wasn't anything that she could have done to prevent it, but we were getting so close. I didn't want anything to trip up what I wanted to happen. Next, I won immunity in the most unexpected challenge that I never thought I would win against this guy, so that was cool. And I thought that this was the time to try to make a move. That necklace really gives you this little sense of power. It's weird. And ultimately, I knew that I wanted to sit next to Rob, and I knew that I didn't want to sit next to Nina because I felt like she was the next biggest threat to take away my win. So, in having some brief conversations yesterday with Geraldine, I also, she pitched a 3 possibly of me, her, and Chad, so I had options. But I wanted to try to get Nina out, and I wanted to try to save you, Geraldine. So I genuinely pitched, let's vote Nina out. Unfortunately, that didn't work, and you went. But I'm so glad that Chad won the next challenge, and I'm sorry, Nina, that you were next in my line. So going into last night's final final challenge, once I saw it, I knew I was going to get it. I knew that my balance would outlast these 2. The pain, yes, was terrible, but I knew that I could get it. It wasn't until we were on those boards that I knew I needed to win because I needed to beat Chad. I had a feeling he wouldn't take me to the end, so I needed to control my own fate.
Start wrapping it up, Alison.
And I did by getting the win and taking the person that I wanted to the end. I can't believe I talked for 9 minutes. Okay. I look forward to your questions, comments, and concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison.
Thank you.
Rob, you're up.
Cool. Jerry, hello. Coming into the game, I knew that I had 2 big obstacles to overcome. The first was my threat level. Coming in, I'm a big physical threat. There's no way for me to hide that. I'm good at challenges. I look strong. I can't hide that. The way that I combat that is I surround myself with people that are better than me socially, better than me strategically, better than me at puzzles. The other way that I combat that is to put myself in a position that when I am vulnerable, I will not be taken out because of the allies I have formed. Okay? The second obstacle I had to overcome is my social anxiety. In large groups of 9 or 10, which I figured these tribes were going to be, I do not do well. I get very shy. I isolate myself in a social game. That is not a good way to play. And so for myself coming into this, I knew from day one, I needed to have a number 1 and a number 2. I walked into this game, and day one, I made an alliance with Trav and with Nina. Going forward, Isaiah and Lachey had come and said that we could work together. Brandon had come and Geraldine had come, and I felt like all of us going forward, for the first vote, we voted out Janai, and I felt very comfortable with that. The next time we went to tribal council, I got blindsided, and my number 1 went out the door. Okay? At that moment, I felt like, okay, I'm on the bottom here. I'm not sure where to go socially. I'm not sure where my trust can go. I trusted Nina still, but me and her had voted the wrong way, so I felt like I really didn't have any place to go. My solution at that point was to pull it back a little bit, figure out, people had come to me and said, we're still in an alliance, but I felt like I was at the bottom of that alliance. I felt like I'm being used for challenges now, I'll be used for a shield at merge, and the minute that you can let me go, you will let me go. So I sat back. I made deeper connections with people. I tried to connect with people on a more personal level. I tried to make more social connections. Strategically, I didn't really have anywhere to go. I had to follow what everyone else was doing. So we voted Nina out. We voted Sam out. Neither one did I want to go, but I didn't have any social capital at that point that I could play with. My point was that if I could make these social connections, I expected a swap to come. If a swap came, the people that I swapped with, I thought, okay, we'll have enough social bonds that if we have the numbers, we'll still stay up. I won't be out at that point. The swap never came. So as we, continue to whittle down our own numbers, I figured, okay, the merge is coming. When the merge comes, I will have a chance to reassess where I'm at. When the merge came, it was the perfect time for me to take a look at where everyone was. I was still at the bottom of my alliance, and regardless of what people said, we had the numbers going into merge. We had 6 to 5 going in. So I knew we had to keep getting rid of orange and keep our numbers because we were willing to go in strong. But but at some point, everyone else had better social connections than I did. Everyone else, while I felt a part of it, everyone else was tighter than they were with me. It just was the way it was. So I tried to reassess it on the first day of going into merge. The first day going into merge, I needed another number 1 and number 2. So I talked to Allison and I talked to Nina. And that first day we agreed we're going to go to final 3. We had talked about it. And so while I don't know what their plans were, my plan was we will continue to work the middle, pick off an orange while we purple still have power and the purple will still go together. And then we'll pick off a purple. Then we can pick off an orange, pick off a purple. And the plan was to go to the final 3. I'll be honest, me and Nina have the same story. We worked together almost the entire time. She has a better story than I do. She has the outcast story and would have beat me. I'm happy not to sit next to Nina in the final 2 because I don't believe that I would have had enough of a story to tell against her to win. I wanted to sit next to Alison because I knew that we had a different enough story to battle against each other in a way that actually worked. From the minute that the vote started, Lachey and Juan, I had nothing to do with your votes. I would love to say that I did. I had nothing to do with it, but they benefited me. While I voted for Jess and would have hoped Jess went home, your going out benefited me because for me, you were so socially connected to everybody that you would have killed me in this game. Juan, when they took you out, we didn't have a huge connection at that point, but it was taking out another orange, and for me, it didn't matter what orange they took out, it still left us with numbers. After that, I decided to go after the people that were threats to my game. Allie, you kept coming for me. There was no question in my mind that you were not going to work with me, and you were going to keep coming for me. So we had to get you out. At 8 was the final time that we had 5 purple and 3 orange, and was the first time that someone could actually make a move. And for myself, Isaiah was the biggest threat for me in this game. Socially, you can out-talk me, you can out-socialize with everybody here. Sitting next to you in the finals, I lose every single time. And I have no game to talk to against you. You were my number 1 threat. I needed to get you out. And so me, Allison, Nina, I had told Chad on the first day of the merge that we would work together. I just needed time, and when the numbers would work, I would work with him. And so when I came to him and I said, it's time, let's do it, and we took you out on that vote. Jess, I needed to take you out because you were too close to Allison, and for me, I knew that you were going to take my spot in the finals. When we got down to 6 people left, was the first time that I didn't have an immunity necklace and 3 votes. I was scared for myself. Brandon came back to the camp and said, I'm sorry, it's your time to go. Like, I wish I could do something, it's your time. And I know that everybody felt like the physical threat finally does not have immunity and he should go. I was able, by the alliances that I built with Nina and Chad and Allison, to make sure that I was not going to be that vote. And I wasn't. Geraldine, I knew the 4 of us had already made the alliance, But either way, you were my next biggest threat. If I had left you in the game, I was so nervous that you would take my spot in the end. There just was no way for me to keep you at that point. Nina, you know, when we came down to 4, Chad won that immunity, and you know, I was super grateful that he won that immunity because I did not want to put your name down, but I couldn't write his name down, and it made it a hell of a lot easier for me. When I got to the final 3, me and Chad had talked about going to the final 2. Me and Allison had talked about going to the final 2. I had both people that were willing to take me to the final 2, thinking that they could beat me in this game. I started at the bottom. Now I'm here.
You didn't sing it.
And, you know, I welcome, if anyone has any hurt feelings, it was never my intention. And I welcome any questions or comments that you guys have.
Thanks, Rob. All right, jury, are we ready to get to these questions?
Yes.
All righty. As we said, one at a time, we'll come up, stand behind the stick, address the finalists, of course, speak loud enough to where they, as well as we could hear you. But let's get started with it. Shay, start us off.
Excited. Congratulations, my lovelies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed your speeches, and I'm glad I got that insight. I'm going to start with Allison. We didn't get to play too much together, so I feel like my question, based off what you just said, was like, what was the time that you felt that you were at the bottom, like Robin had to fight your way back in the game? Because you mentioned being so well insulated that you didn't really have to fight or like, you know, so that you know, were the sole survivor. So could you explain that? I mean,
I was never at the bottom. I was so well insulated. I had connections with people that I made from the beginning of the game. I had connections with people that I made come merge. I was always working with the core group of people, but even when I wasn't working, say, on a vote with Isaiah, he was willing to make sure that I was protected. I had people that wanted to protect me even if we weren't working together, and I don't think my name came up a single time, and that's because I wanted to make people feel comfortable with me. I'm genuine. I was being myself, but I was able to make people feel comfortable enough that they never wanted to use me as an option. So I never felt at the bottom. I guess my lowest point in the game was probably when Jess went, because I realized that I did have more people that I wasn't working with who were going against my people. So that worried me a little bit, but I never felt like I was potentially next after her.
okay. And for Rob,
Yes.
my question for you, I feel like, what one specific move did you feel like was your move to get you here? You get what I'm asking?
Yeah. I think the biggest move I did to get me here was to get Isaiah out.
Okay. That's all I have for you guys.
Yep.
Congrats and good luck.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Lachey.
Thank you, Lachey. Juan, you're up.
Oh, long time no long time no see. My question's a little bit different. There's a lot of jurors after me, so I just wanna get your insight into what you think we're gonna do. So I'm gonna have you guys close your eyes,
Oh boy.
and I'm gonna say every juror's name, and you're gonna raise your hand if you think we're gonna vote for you, and we'll go from there. So raise your hand if you think Lachey is gonna vote for you. All right. What about me? All right. Allie. All right. Isaiah. All right. I lost my train of thought. Jess. Brandon. All right. Geraldine. And Nina. And Chad. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Aliana, you're up.
So congratulations, y'all.
Thank you.
Are you nervous?
No.
You should be. So, a lot of this season we talked about how perception is reality. And it's a very known trope of the heroes versus villains in Survivor lore. So, my question is 3 brief parts. Did you play this game as a hero or a villain? Do you think the jury sees you as a hero or villain? And is that who you are in your real life? Rob, you go first.
Okay. It's funny, playing a heroes and villains game, I would have told you every single time that I would play for the villain side. But I feel like playing in this game, I feel like I played on the hero side on this game. You know, I feel like I did my best to be as upfront with people as I could. I lied when I absolutely had to in order to make a move. And, you know, I did my best to try to try to play with the people that I wanted to play with and play hard with them. Sorry.
How does the jury see you?
Oh, I think most of the jury would agree, and I would say the jury would agree. And I think on the outside, you know, I try to live my life in a way that you know, is grateful for, you know, being here and being present, and you know, I try to do right by people.
Awesome.
I do feel like I played this game like a hero. I made genuine connections. I worked with several different people at several times. And yes, I made some lies, including blindsiding Isaiah. I could see that as a villainous move, but it was a move. It was absolutely nothing personal. Like Rob said, you were a threat to my game as well. Because we didn't have any like final deals or anything. I knew we were looking out for each other, but that was the extent of it so far. So I feel like I'm perceived as a hero because I was very friendly with people. I made sure to look out for people if they seemed a little down. I genuinely wanted to check on them because I did have concerns. And that follows through in my real life. I am extremely caring, probably to a fault, and very thoughtful, and take my friendships and family relationships to heart. And I love cats, so.
Thank you both. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you, Eliana. Isaiah, you're up.
I love knowing that I am such a big threat to the biggest and smallest person on this cast.
You are.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
So Alison, I'm going to start with you. So as we know, we started our season on the premiere day of Survivor Borneo, right? So the very beginning. And as we saw, this season had a lot of throwbacks, a lot of earlier things, including literally the Gong walking into our tribals. And as we are literally sitting here right now, season 50 is currently filming. So we are going from the beginning to the current, right? So to ask you of your journey in this game, I want to know, you can give me a few words, a sentence or two, from day one when you were here, right? About you, about your journey, about your game, to how you're sitting here right now. I want to hear the difference between then and now, with yourself, your journey, and your game.
Okay. Beginning of the game, like I said, I came in so confident, and upon seeing the cast, I quickly felt like, okay, I can do this. I can work with these people. I can find where I need to go at the right times. And I felt excited to play. I think I did have this air of ease and confidence about me that maybe not everybody else had in this game, and I used that to my advantage. I was willing to talk to everybody, and I was excited that, more so excited that people wanted to come to me to talk. So the start of the game, I was feeling hopeful. Fast forward to here, it is such a huge accomplishment to know that I wasn't just hopeful, I fucking did it. Everything that I wanted, everything that I said that I wanted to do happened. It's kind of unreal if you go back and listen to my confessionals, like the things that I was putting out, the order of boots that I wanted, it almost happened exactly how I wanted it to happen. And I don't think there was really a single confessional of mine where I was doubting myself. I was wishing in the luck, because Survivor is a huge game of luck. And personally for me, not having a swap was huge. I have been swap screwed before, and so this was huge for me. So yes, with the good survivor luck and with my real determination, I made it here. I made it here with closely with the people that I wanted to, and ultimately with the last person that I wanted to. So I truly worked every single part of this game to my advantage, and I did it. I'm very happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rob, not gonna lie, hearing from the jury that you were basically the person to complete my demise in this game, it stung. It really did. And the stinger's still inside. My question to you is, in your game, did you ever, in your in-game decisions, did you ever, or how much did you consider how your decisions in this game might have really affected someone that you worked with, that you made a connection with, and that really might have trusted you in this game, specifically me?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, my intention was never to hurt you in a personal way, ever. Like, I would never want to do that. You know, we had built a really good connection. We had built up some trust. I also knew that game-wise, there was no way for me to go to the end with you and sit next to you and have any game to say. Like, if I had gone with you guys till the end, I literally would have sat here and said, yeah, I played next to him. Like, I wouldn't have had any game at all. And, you know, I would never want, like, I would never want you to feel badly about it. I feel very awful that you are hurt by it. It was not what I wanted from this. To be honest, I thought that you would just respect it as a game move, and that's all that it was. And, you know, you just had so many connections. You're just so good socially. Like, we go back to camp and I sit there and I, like, you know, I say a few words here and there, like, you ba 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 ba. You know, like, you know, it's like everywhere. It's just, it was too much to go against. It was never anything personal, ever.
Thank you guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah. Jess, you're up.
Be careful.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just tiptoeing. I'm tiptoeing. Don't need to fall. Congratulations to both you guys. What an amazing representation of the best season of Roleplay out there.
Thank you.
Hottest cast ever. And as Isaiah brought up, like, as we are playing this, there's a legendary season of Survivor being filmed right now, and everybody knows that a cornerstone of a strong Survivor game is adaptability. So I want to know a time when you had to adapt your gameplay and how that adaptation brought you to where you are right now at the final two. We'll start with Rob.
Okay. You know, right in the beginning, you know, I felt super good with the alliance that I had, and that second vote, 5 people voted the opposite way of what I was voting, and it completely screwed me, or it completely felt like, okay, I have nowhere to go from here. Everything after that was me adapting to the situation at hand. The only thing that I could do was try to work my way back in with people and to tighten up the bonds that with the people in the alliance that had turned, and to try to figure out a way going forward that I could make new bonds on the other side if I had to.
I think the thing that first sticks out for me was Juan getting voted out, because I felt like he was being genuine with me, whereas some people on Orange felt like he truly was playing double agent once we got to merge. And I just didn't want to believe it because I wanted to be with you. But the majority, the consensus was unfortunately not. And in the moment that it was your vote out, it was you or Allie, and I did choose Allie. So I think from there it was me adapting to listening to my core 4 a little bit more and being willing to just kind of go with it if it's not really going to hinder my end game.
Good luck, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Brandon, you're up.
Congratulations, you two.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Really happy for y'all. Y'all played a great game.
Thank you.
So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I just want to talk about your strategy, how thoughtful and how deliberate you've been. So in our season, a little old school, we didn't have a swap. We didn't have a lot of advantages. Those are the things that can kind of help shift momentum, right? And pivot, right? So how did that, the lack of those things, affect the way you thought you were going to play this game?
How did the lack of advantages?
How did that change the way you thought you were going to play this game? Not having some of those tools that maybe you came in thinking we would have to play with.
Yeah, I was on the hunt for idols. If there was an idol, I was going to find it. But once we got those beads, I think I realized that no, there weren't any idols at this point. So my main strategy was to continue building the social connections that I had. Because if I was able to surround myself with people who wanted to keep me safe, then in a way that's kind of an idol. So I used people instead of idols. And one quick thing that I wanted to mention about an advantage too, which I didn't and I don't want to forget, is that, if I may, is that when Nina came back into the game, I don't know if she shared this with anyone else. She told me she didn't, but she told me that after the beads were eliminated at 8, that there would be a new advantage coming into the game called a stamp. Neither of us knew what that power was, but we knew that it was coming in. So to have a little bit of knowledge that, hey, there is going to be a new advantage, I kept that in mind, but still used people as my advantages.
For me, I feel like I played a game that I didn't need any of the advantages. You know, when Trav left and we had the Outcast game, I got Trav's bead so that I could try and make an idol. And I never needed to try to play it. You know, for me, I wanted to play a game where I didn't need an advantage to stay in the game. I could depend on my allies, I could depend on my challenge wins, and I could win without an advantage.
You guys are doing great. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
We're
you,
almost
Brandon. Darylyn, you're up.
Okay.
Please
First of
don't.
all, congratulations. Good luck.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Absolutely would have taken your spot if I could have. Here I am on the jury. My question for both of you, I know we've talked a lot today about perception, but what is your perception of the other person's game, and why do you think they shouldn't win? Now, I don't want to hear why you think you should win over them.
Yeah.
Why you think they should not win.
I think my perception of Rob is my perception or what I think everyone thinks.
Your perception of Rob's game.
Oh. Okay.
Let's do it.
Well, I know that Rob is more than just, he is so kind and so genuine, and we are truly going to be friends after this. But he did have the ability to hide behind all of this, because I'm sure pre-merge, nobody wants to get rid of this guy. They're able to use him to their advantage in challenges. I wouldn't want to get rid of him either. And then come merge, yes, he did win some challenges, and his name was lightly thrown out. I feel like more so as an option, just like, well, I want to win, so we got to get him out. But I don't necessarily know if he made any big solo moves, and he did rely on his alliances more than other people worked with their alliances, if that makes sense. And if not, I'm sorry.
Alison came to me after the Jess vote, and as we were walking away, said to me, "I feel like I have no agency in this game." I feel like I don't have control over the orange people going.
I do remember saying you're getting rid of all my orange people. Yeah.
And she said in the beginning that, she had 5 people coming to her as her number one. You can't have 5 number ones. You can have 1 number one. And all of her number ones are sitting over there. My number one is sitting right here.
You were one of my number ones as well, and it's not that I approached them.
Wait, we're allowed to respond?
They approached me. I didn't make these deals with people. They came to me.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geraldine. Nina, you're up.
Congratulations, both. I'm
Thanks.
so excited for you guys both. And you're both right. You would have been big dum-dums to sit next to me. And so you're very smart, good players sitting there next to each other, not me. Obviously, we're getting towards the end of our jury questioning here. There's only one left after me. So my question is going to be the same for both of you, and it's not really a question. It's just an opportunity to say something about your game that maybe you have not yet said that you want to share, something you might want to point out that just hasn't come up yet, if there is anything. And I would like to hear from Allison first.
I mean, I feel like touching on the 5 number ones because I didn't treat them in any like hierarchy. I was going to see who I made it to the end with. But something that maybe I didn't mention yet is I'm really good at making fire. So if there was a fire challenge, I was probably going to win. And I successfully voted out all of the people who I shared the candy jar with and who wanted to sleep in the hammock. So I got to eat all the candy and slept in the hammock for the last 3 nights all on my own.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Oh, sorry. I just had something that I blanked. Fighting from the bottom on this was extremely hard. To play a game like this and feel like you don't have any say in what's happening for a few votes is the worst feeling here. Like I would much rather leave trying to do something than walk out of here feeling like I just went along and went along and went along. And, to finally feel like once we got to merge it, I was able to actually play and like play hard and play well. I'm really proud of that. And to be able to work with the final people in the way that I was, I felt really good about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Chad, close us out.
Poker man.
Rob, coming into this final tribal council, you really needed to find your voice for us to hear. And I think I heard it. So my question to you is this. Did you ever consider taking me to sit in that spot had you won? And if so, do you think you could have beat me?
I would have taken Alison over you anytime. You scared me. You speak better than I do. You came into this game prepared. You came into this game walking 1,000,000 steps to prepare for the game. You brought the belt that tied up into the rope. You won 3 immunity challenges, same as me. So the challenge thing was right out the window. The immunity challenge that you won was how well do you know the jury? Like, you think that doesn't help with them? It does. I just felt like it was a much bigger battle for me to battle you than it was to battle Alison.
Thank you, and I look forward to watching Grown Ups 2 with you. Allison, opening statement to hear you talk about 5 different number ones. Kind of made me feel like when my ex told me they were seeing 5 other people. My question to you is a little bit of a two-parter, because when you voted me out, you said you felt it was necessary to secure the votes over here. Do you think you take my vote for granted? And then my second part to this question is, do you think I did more for your game, or did you do more for mine?
That's a good question. The first part was.
Are you taking my vote for granted?
I'm not taking your vote for granted. I know that you, out of all of these people, are going to be the most analytical with who you give your vote to. So I voted you out hoping you would vote for me, but not expecting a guaranteed vote. I did really like what you said when you left. That did make me feel really good that you did acknowledge that I did make that move because I felt it was necessary. And as far as us one doing more for the other, I don't think so, because I think there were moments where perhaps you could have been vulnerable, but I, along with the other ladies, made sure that wasn't the case. And I don't think that you necessarily did any more for me than I did for myself, because I did have outside connections that didn't include you as well.
Thank you both. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Jury, thank you for your questions and statements. Before we go to the vote, we are going to give the finalists one last chance to address each of you by making a closing statement. As we determine, or as Allison determined the order before, we're going to go the inverse. Rob, we'll start with you.
Great. I would just ask that before you guys go and vote, I never meant anything personally, ever. Everything was a game move. I would ask that you vote based on game. I know some people know Allison a little bit better. I would ask that you look at my game and see that I played from the bottom. I was able to take risks. I was able to make moves when I need to. I was able to form alliances when I needed to. And I fought my ass off to get to this seat. When we first started this game, Josh told us a story. He told us a legend about the first fire, okay? And when the lava came down the mountain and all the animals went in to save the village, the snake and the spider were the last two to go in to save the village. The snake went in first, got in halfway, and burnt up. The spider was able to weave the web across the river and grab the fire and start the first fire. I would ask that you guys let Surviving Reelfoot Season 13 end the same way that the legend did. To have Rob, the spider from Kanane, devour Alison, the snake from Anata.
Oh my god.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
Allison, you're up.
Okay, I have two things, so I'm going to try to get through them quickly. One, I know that I've told all of you about my job. For anybody who doesn't know, I work for a public school system in a post-grad program, students 18 to 22 who have autism, differing abilities. We work on reaching independence through supported employment. It's amazing. Unfortunately, this time off to play this game was not approved. So for the past few weeks, I was emailing back and forth with HR, and they came to the conclusion that I could either be fired or resign. I had a meeting Thursday, 2 days before flying out here, as one last-ditch effort to try to speak to them as I am speaking to you now to let me keep my job. Unfortunately, contract is a contract, so on Saturday morning I sent in an email and I had to resign. It was a great job, but to me a job is a job, and I don't know why. But I truly felt like this game was going to be my game, and that all of my shortcomings in past games led me to this point. I believed in myself so much that I was willing to risk it for this. But I'm so happy that I did. And I know that my staff and students were watching as well, and I know that they would be proud. And I'm proud that I stuck with this decision, because I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. Two, I am calling back the fact that yes, I came into this game wanting a number one, and these games often mirror our real lives so much, more so the more you're out here, the more you think about it. And for me, the past 2 years, I have had this sense of loneliness and being alone, and so coming into this game to find a person was so important to me. And yes, I found more than one person. And I think that as I laid in the hammock last night and I thought about this, I thought about the speeches that I wanted to give. I came to this realization that maybe I'm not the type of person who has one number one. Maybe I'm the type of person who is able to connect with more than one person in different ways. And I feel the support from many people in my everyday life and from you as well. So I'm really trying not to feel so alone, but if this game is any indication of my real life right now, I couldn't make it a better picture. And I'm so proud of the game that I played, and I'm so proud to have played it with all of you. And this win would be so validating for me in so many ways. This would mean so much. And nobody's written my name down yet, so I would love for you all to write it now. And it's spelled Alyson. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. Finalists, thank you for your performance tonight, answering the questions. Unfortunately, your game is done now. You've done everything you can to try to sway this jury. Jury, hope you took the time to listen and observe. You're about to make the most important decision of this game, crowning the winner of Surviving Reelfoot Season 13, First Fire. I'm going to let the gentleman get to the booth, and then we'll get started.